Hello everyone, welcome back to our another section of online chemistry classes. In the last class we were discussing about the chapter HCl under the study of compounds. So we have completed that chapter. Now we will be moving to the next chapter, that is ammonia. Before that I have already given the notes of analytical chemistry chapter and also the homework. So please go through that and do the homework in your notebook or class copy. So today we will be dealing with the next chapter under study of compound, that is ammonia. I think this will be the last chapter for your first semester. So like I told you in the last class, I asked you to revise little bit from the previous classes because we are studying little bit about ammonia in the first, second and little bit in the analytical chemistry chapter also. So you are supposed to go through that. The first thing that you need to know it is the study of it is the structure of ammonia. So ammonia, it is a covalent compound. Ammonia, it is NH3. You are not supposed to confuse between NH3 and NH4 plus. Ammonia and ammonium ion. Ammonia is a normal compound. Ammonium ion, it is an ion. NH4 plus, it is one of the cations. Okay, so ammonia and ammonium ion you are supposed to discuss, you are supposed to go through the previous portions. Other than that, other than the structure of ammonia, you also need to know that ammonia is one of the polar covalent compounds. So it is having a positive charge, slight positive charge in the hydrogen and slight negative charge in nitrogen. Other than that, ammonia is a compound which possesses a lone pair. I hope you remember what is lone pair. So a lone pair, because of the presence of that lone pair, ammonia is having many properties, and out of that you have studied one important property, that is this. Because of that lone pair, ammonia can act as a donor to form a coordinate covalent bonding. Okay, so that lone pair of ammonia is donated to H plus, or in other words to a proton to form ammonium ion to form a coordinate covalent bonding. So ammonium ion, it is a ion which possesses covalent and coordinate bond. So when ammonium ion forms an ionic compound with any other negatively charged anion, it is a compound that possesses three types of bonding. That is nitrogen and hydrogen. There are three covalent, normal covalent, or in other words polar covalent single bonds. There is one nitrogen hydrogen coordinate covalent bond, and NH4 plus and the upcoming anion, it will together form an ionic bond. So ammonium compounds, the compounds of ammonium ions, they usually contain three types of bonding. Now, so before starting this chapter, so just as I told before in the previous chapters, previous section in the same chapter, that is HCl, the study of compound chapter, it goes on a particular pattern. The first pattern, the first section that you are supposed to study, it is a laboratory preparation of the following compounds. So here we are going to discuss about ammonia. So the first thing that we are going to deal with, it is the laboratory preparation of ammonia, and also we are having some other manufacture of ammonia. Along with that, we will also go through that. Then after that, we are having the industrial manufacture. There is a special name for that. You are supposed to buy out that. It is like some 80-90% compulsory question in your board exam. And there are many questions that can come from the industrial manufacture of ammonia compared to the laboratory manufacture of ammonia. So here in this chapter, if you are going through this chapter, if I might say, the most important part in this chapter, it is industrial manufacture of ammonia and the reactions of ammonia. Okay, so after the industrial manufacture of ammonia, we will be going through some of the chemical and physical properties, some important reactions, some important tests for ammonia. So in case of ammonia chapter, ammonia is having a wide range of reactions. So unlike HCl chapter, you are supposed to study a lot of reactions. We'll go through that. So before starting, you all know that ammonia is a gas, right? So So ammonia is a gas just like HCl. It is having a pungent smell. Okay, so it is also little bit irritating smell. So there are many normal ammonium compounds that you are using in your daily life. So I hope you have heard about urea. So urea, I think at least as a fertilizers you have heard about urea. So and also I think you have studied in biology about nitrogen cycle, nitrogen fixation cycle, nitrates, how nitrates are prepared. It is normally prepared from urea by certain microorganism. So leave that. So urea, it is a compound that is specially present in urine. Not it is present in not almost all the animal urine. So what you are going to study here, it is different products of ammonia or different compounds that can be synthesized from ammonia. That is also under the discussion of this chapter. So to produce urea also we can use ammonia. It is one of the important fertilizers. Now we'll go through the chapter. So the first part, it is about ammonia. Ammonia is a gas. So I have told that before. Now other than that, the ammonia gas, it can be liquefied. Liquefied means the last year you have studied about some gas laws like Boyle's law and Charles law. If you remember, if we are giving a high amount of pressure, so what is Boyle's law? Volume of the gas is inversely proportional to pressure. So if pressure is increasing, volume of the gas it is decreasing. So if you are giving very high pressure, the volume of the gas it decreases, or in other words, the atoms or molecules of gases they come closer. At a certain point, it won't be a gas anymore because the intermolecular space between them it will be too less. That cannot be compared to a gas. So it can be liquefied at a particular point. So just like that, ammonia can be liquefied at a particular temperature and pressure. So if we are taking 100% pure ammonia and if we are liquefying that, it is called liquid ammonia. So this is liquid ammonia. We are taking 100% pure ammonia. We are applying high pressure and we are fixing a very low temperature. So under that condition, ammonia gas it is converted into liquid. So the product that we are obtaining, it is called liquid ammonia. And there is one more thing, that is liqueur ammonia, LiQUOR. Okay, so just write it here. First one is liquid. The next one is liqueur. Okay, so liquid ammonia, it is the compressed ammonia gas. Ammonia gas is compressed at high pressure and low temperature to give liquid ammonia in liquid state. So that is liquid ammonia. Now liqueur ammonia, it is ammonia gas dissolved in water. So if you are dissolving the ammonia gas in water, you will get liqueur ammonia. So this is one of the important questions that is usually asked in the exam. What is the difference between liqueur and liquid ammonia? Okay, so just go through that. Now we are moving to the next and first important part, that is preparation of ammonia in laboratory. So as you know, ammonium salts, it can be easily prepared from ammonia, or in other words, ammonia can also be prepared from ammonium salt. Okay, so ammonia is a gas, it won't be easily available even if it is a normal laboratory. Now so our primary source of ammonia gas, it will be the ammonium compounds. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to take some ammonium compounds. We are going to separate the ammonia gas from ammonium compounds. So the best way to do that is to heat the ammonium compound with a strong alkali. Okay, so strong alkali, what are alkalis? you remember from your 9th class, alkalis, they are the hydroxides of alkali and alkaline earth metals. So you have studied some of the important alkali. The first one is NaOH, the other one is KOH. So the later available one is calcium hydroxide. These three are the main important alkali. So if you are taking any of the ammonium compound and if you are heating it with one of the alkali, you will get ammonia gas as the byproduct. Okay, you will study the reaction just now itself. So I will just write some of the example here. So if I am taking ammonium sulfate and if I am treating it with NaOH, the product will be, one of the product will be NH3 definitely, because this is a reaction to synthesize ammonia. So the second product will be NH3 is gone from here. So Na2SO4 will be formed and the other byproduct will be H2O. So this will be the general method of general chemical formula or general chemical equation that will be formed when alkali it is reacting with one of the ammonium salt. So the product will be ammonia plus one another salt that is formed as intermediate, and the last one will be water. Okay, so now for the preparation of ammonia in laboratory, we are having a wide variety of ammonium salt and we are having many alkalis also. So which one should we use? So as you should know, the simplest and cheapest ammonium salt that is available, it is ammonium chloride. Okay, there are many other ammonium salt, you can use any of that, but the cheapest one it will be ammonium chloride. So ammonium chloride is generally preferred over other ammonium salt. So it is having little bit of demerit also, but still ammonium chloride is preferred over the others. So you can use any of the ammonium salt, but ammonium chloride is preferred over the rest. Okay, so one of the reactant, it is the ammonium chloride, and as you can see the alkali used is calcium hydroxide. Okay, so we are using calcium hydroxide as the alkali. Why we are not using NaOH and KOH? Because NaOH and KOH, they are the most easily available alkali and most cheapest alkali that is available in any chemistry labs. So why we are going for the calcium hydroxide instead of NaOH and KOH? This is one of the questions that you can expect in the exam. So the reason is this: NaOH and KOH, they are deliquescent in nature. I hope you remember what is deliquescent. They absorb water from the moisture and they will turn themselves into liquid. Okay, so sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, they are deliquescent in nature. So if they are kept for a while outside the bottle, they will turn into liquid by themselves, or even if you are exposing for a very little bit of time, you can see a layer of water around the crystals of Na. And actually it is not crystal, it is pellets. You will know when you are going to the lab, if you are going to the lab. NaOH and KOH and CaOH, all the three alkali, we can get them in pellets also. Normally we are getting them in pellets. So you can see a watery layer over the pellets. Pellets means it is almost like the same structure as your tablets or medicine that you are taking. Okay, so if you are using NaOH or KOH, they since they are deliquescent in nature, they can absorb water. So the amount of water as a byproduct it will be increased. And there are some other reasons also. We will discuss about that reason at the end. Okay, so we'll start the test. What we are going to do is we are taking this B class. So what is the difference here? Why it doesn't look like normal? Instead of keeping it straight, sorry, summer likewise, we are keeping it inverted. Okay, so what is the reason for that? Okay, we'll discuss that. Inside the average flask, there are two chemicals that is added. One is calcium hydroxide, other is ammonium chloride. So after that, we are heating it using a Bunsen burner. So when it is heated, the product will be, so I'll write down the reaction here: calcium hydroxide CaO2 plus NH4Cl, that is ammonium chloride, gives calcium chloride. Just like what this goes. The other byproduct will be NH3 and the last one will be H2O. Okay, so there will be three products. The first one will be calcium chloride, the second one will be ammonia gas, the last one will be water. So what happened here? Calcium chloride, it is a solid, so it is supposed to settle down. The other two products, that is ammonia and a little bit of water vapor, it will be rising up as a gas. It will be going through the delivery tube. It will be going to the next chamber, that is the collection chamber. It is not important. So after this, it will be rising up to the next place, that is the drying tower. So I hope you remember the drying tower that is used in HCl for the laboratory preparation of HCl. So inside the drying tower, in case of HCl, we were using sulfuric acid, concentrated sulfuric acid. Here, the drying tower is filled with solid calcium oxide or solid quicklime. Okay, so why we are using calcium oxide? That is one of the important question. That is the most usually asked question from the laboratory preparation of ammonia. Okay, so why we are using calcium oxide? Why can't we use any other drying agents like concentrated sulfuric acid, P2O5, CaCl2, etc. Okay, so the reason is this: calcium oxide. So calcium is a metal. So all the metal oxides except aluminium, zinc and lead, they are basic oxides. So calcium oxide, it is a basic oxide. So what is ammonia? Ammonia, is it a base or is it a base or acid? Ammonia is a gas which is having a basic nature. So since ammonia is basic in nature, calcium oxide, which is also having a basic nature, so since both of them are basic in nature, they won't react with each other. Okay, so because ammonia is having a basic nature, calcium oxide, it won't react with ammonia. So what about sulfuric acid? What if we use concentrated sulfuric acid as the drying agent? As you know, concentrated sulfuric acid, it is one of the strongest acid, and ammonia, it is a base. So definitely the calcium oxide, it will react with the concentrated sulfuric acid. They will react, you won't get any ammonia. Other than that, the reaction with an acid and a base, it is highly exothermic. It can cause some explosion. It can liberate a lot of heat energy. So it will be dangerous. So here we are using calcium oxide. The reason is this. The reason is because calcium oxide is a basic drying agent. We are supposed to use only basic drying agent in the drying tower when we are preparing ammonia in the laboratory. So ammonia is a basic gas, so you are only supposed to use basic drying agents like calcium oxide. You are not supposed to use acidic drying agents like P2O5 and also concentrated sulfuric acid. So after passing through the drying tower, it was a mixture of ammonia and water, right? So water, it will be absorbed by the calcium oxide because it is a drying agent. So whatever that is left out, it will be mostly pure ammonia. Okay. So what happens here? The ammonia gas, that will be left out from the drying tower. So it will be collected over the drying tower. My next question is this. I hope you remember how we collected the HCl gas after passing through the drying tower. We were keeping the collection or gas jar in upward position, just like this. Okay, so the reason was this. HCl was a heavier gas. So if you are pouring the HCl gas to this place, the HCl gas it will go down since it is heavier than air. Okay, now what about this case? So as you can see, this gas jar it is placed inverted. Okay, it is placed downwards. So why it is so? So it is because the ammonia gas, it is a gas that is lighter than air. So this is what that is going to happen. Suppose this is a tube that is delivering ammonia. So if we are releasing the ammonia from this tube, the ammonia gas it will go up. HCl gas it will go down since it is heavier than air. Ammonia gas is going up. The reason is it is lighter than air. So since ammonia gas is lighter than air, it will raise up, or in other words, from here the ammonia it will go to the top, it will fill from the top till it reaches the bottom. Okay, this is how we are collecting ammonia gas in the laboratory. This is how we are preparing ammonia gas in the laboratory and collecting it in the laboratory. Okay. Okay. So now we are going to discuss some of the important points that you are supposed to know about the laboratory preparation of ammonia. So some points I have already discussed. Before that, the reactant, that is ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride is also called by one another name, that is sal ammoniac. I hope you don't forget that. Now the reactant that we are using, it is calcium hydroxide and ammonium chloride. I hope you remember why it is so. The ammonium chloride it is the cheapest available ammonium salt. Calcium hydroxide it is the alkali that is not deliquescent in nature. NaOH and KOH are deliquescent. That is why we are not using NaOH and KOH. Still, if we are using NaOH or KOH, we are supposed to get the ammonia gas. But it is more calcium hydroxide is more preferred over NaOH and KOH. Now, other than that, there are some other options for ammonium chloride. Okay, so I'll write it down here. So one of the other option is NH4 twice SO4, ammonium sulfate. Why can't we use ammonium sulfate? So I hope you remember from HCl chapter we were using NaCl and sulfuric acid. The product, one of the byproduct that we tried to eliminate was sodium sulfate. Okay, so we are supposed to keep the temperature below 200 degrees Celsius to avoid the formation of sodium sulfate. So here also calcium sulfate can be formed. It can also have the same effect. It can crack the apparatus. That is why we are not using ammonium sulfate. Okay, now the other option that we are having is ammonium nitrate. So ammonium chloride, ammonium sulfate and ammonium nitrate. The last one, ammonium nitrate, that last one that we are going to discuss, it is ammonium nitrate. It is having a major problem. Okay, it is an explosive. Okay, so if you are heating it with, if you are just heating it, it will explode. So you can expect what will happen if you are heating at high temperature along with calcium hydroxide. Instead of ammonia, you will get an explosion. So to avoid that, we are only using ammonium chloride. So the reactants, the reason for the reactants I have discussed here. The reactants that we are using, it is ammonium chloride and calcium hydroxide. Now, next important stuff, it is based on the position of RB. Okay, RB or round bottom flask, it is placed inclined. What is the reason? Okay, so in your smaller classes, you are studied about sublimation. So we have studied about various sublimable substance. One of the sublimable substance that we have studied, it is ammonium chloride, or the reactant that we are using. So our reactant, one of our reactant, it is a easily sublimable substance. What is sublimation? A solid, it will turn directly into gas. So what happens if you are heating ammonium chloride? So you can observe ammonium chloride gas. So instead of ammonia gas that is supposed to come out from the RB flask, you can also expect some ammonium chloride vapors. Okay, so to avoid that, we are keeping the RB flask a little bit inclined. So how this part is avoided? So this is likewise the ammonium chloride. When it is heated, it will sublime, it will rise up. It will rise up to the top portion of the RB flask. So what happens here? The ammonium chloride reaching the top, it will start to condense, and you can see a white layer here. Okay, so that means ammonium chloride which sublime and converted into ammonium chloride vapor, it will get condensed at the top of the RB flask instead of going through the derivative. Okay, that is one important reason why we are keeping the RB flask inclined. Now there is one more reason. I think that is the most common reason that is discussed here. That is this. You have to take care of the reactants here. Both the reactants, calcium hydroxide and ammonium chloride, both are solid. Okay, so we are heating two solid. There is nothing that is liquid there. So what happens if you are heating two solid? No problem, right? So the problem is with the product that is formed. There is a reaction. So calcium hydroxide plus ammonium chloride, it will form three products. The first one and most important one, it is ammonia. The second product, it is calcium chloride, CaCl2, it will be solid, it will be lying at the bottom. And the third one, that is the water vapor or the moisture. So what happened to the water? So there is a slight problem here, that is this. If we are taking the water, if we are considering the water that is formed by the reaction, it will rise up, it will condense, it will go to the top. So the water vapor that is formed, we don't want that to condense it back to the same reactant. So if that is happening, the bottom of the RB flask, it is highly it is at high temperature. If water droplets are forming from the top part, and if it is reaching the bottom again, it can lead the RB flask to explode, or there can be some cracks in the RB flask. Okay, so to avoid that, we are keeping the RB flask a little bit tilted for these two reasons. Okay, so that is all about the important points of laboratory preparation of ammonia gas. There are other two factors that is coming around here. One is about calcium oxide. The reason is ammonia is a basic gas, that is why we are using calcium oxide, which is also a basic drying agent. The other one is we are keeping the correction. We are correcting the ammonia gas in the downward displacement of air. The reason is this: ammonia gas is lighter than air, so it will go up. So to collect the ammonia gas, you are supposed to keep the gas jar in downward position. Okay, that is all about the first laboratory preparation method of ammonia from calcium hydroxide and ammonium chloride. Okay. Okay, the next preparation, it is the preparation of ammonia from metal nitrides. Okay, so in the last class we have discussed what is the difference between sulfate, sulfite and sulfide. Now what is the difference between nitrate, nitrite and nitride? Okay, so nitrate, NO3 minus, they are called nitrates. NO2 minus, they are called nitrides. So what is nitride? So the difference in name, it is for APE, IPE and IDE. So just like I told in the previous class, APE is for the iron which contain maximum number of oxygen. IPE, it is for the iron which is containing minimum number of oxygen. IDE, it is for iron which doesn't contain any oxygen. So the nitrogen which doesn't contain any oxygen. So it is just nitrogen atom. So it is having -3 N3 minus, it is called nitrate ion. Okay. So here in the second part of laboratory preparation of ammonia, the reactant that we are using, one of the reactant that we are using, it is metal nitride. So N metal and the anion, metal will be the cation, anion will be the nitrogen or nitrate ion. Okay. So the most important or most commonly asked metal nitride, that is magnesium nitride, Mg and N. So Mg is having 2+ charge, nitride is having 3- charge. So if you are doing the Christopher's method, you will get 3 here and 2 here. So the product is Mg3N2. Okay, so the product is Mg3N2 magnesium nitride. Okay, so other than that, you have already studied about AlN. I hope you remember aluminum nitride. You have studied that in your 9th class. So here in this preparation, we are taking magnesium nitride Mg3N2 in an RB flask. So after that, what we are going to do is we are going to add water into the RB flask through a twistle funnel. Okay, after that we are going to close it, or else we can do one thing, just pour excess amount of water so that the water level is over the twistle funnel, the tube end of the twistle funnel. So the reaction is as follows. Mg3N2 plus H2O. So here there are two cations. One is Mg 2+ and H+. It can form. Okay, I will go to that later. Mg3 2+ is one of the cation. So after the reaction, it won't stay with the N3- ion. So the only other possible anion here, that is OH-. So it will form MgOH twice. Okay. Okay. Now what is remaining? That is nitrogen and H+. So they together combine to form NH3. It is not like the normal reaction. First it will liberate the nitrogen and it will form the NH3. So it is happening in more than one step. So don't think about that too much. So this is the reaction. Mg3N2 plus H2O gives MgOH2 plus NH3. So if you are balancing it, you need 3 Okay, so this is a balanced chemical question for the preparation of ammonia for Mg3N2 magnesium nitride. So here the ammonia gas that is formed here there is no heating that is taking place here, so no need to keep it in blind. The ammonia gas that is produced here, it will rise up along with some of the water vapor that is present, and it will be passing through the derivative to the collection chamber, and after that it will be passed through the drying tower, which is containing CaO, just like our previous case. After that we will get more pure amount of ammonia gas. It will become collected by downward displacement of air. So this is all about laboratory preparation of ammonia. We have discussed two laboratory preparation of ammonia. One is using sal ammonia or ammonium chloride and calcium hydroxide. The next one, it is with metal nitride and water. Okay, so this is all about the laboratory preparation of ammonia. Next, what we are supposed to discuss, it is the industrial manufacture of ammonia. It is a large topic, so we will be discussing in the next class. Just go through whatever we have discussed in today's section. Okay, that's it. We'll continue in the next section. Thank you.